Here we are, back again, boys and girls, with another fun-filled, action-packed, non-flipped Algebra 2 classroom video with me, Coach Gu. We're in Unit 4, Notes number 2 now. This is going to be all about solving systems of linear inequalities. Oh man, linear inequalities. So as you can see, we just straight up have some example problems because this is not so different than what we've been doing before. It's just a few extra steps. So with a system of linear inequalities, we're graphing inequalities. Remember, that's where you're shading above or below a line, and your solution set is in that shaded area. But enough talk. Let's just go to an example to see exactly how this goes in practice. So example number 1. Graph the following system. We've got two equations right there. X plus y is greater than 5, and we've got negative 2x plus y is less than or equal to 2. First thing we need to do is rearrange each of these equations into y equals mx plus b. Just treat the inequality sign as an equal sign for now. So we've got x plus y is greater than 5. So we're just going to rearrange it to where y is by itself. We want to get y by itself. So let's subtract x from both sides. That's going to leave me with y is greater than negative x plus 5. We want to put it in y equals mx plus b form so we can see our slope and y-intercept. Alright, so now let's graph this line then. We can see that we've got the y-intercept at positive 5. So the y-axis, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, positive 5 right here. That's my starting point. Now my slope is right here. It just looks like a negative. That means my slope is negative 1. Negative 1, if I want to see the rise over run, is going to be negative 1 over 1. That tells me rise over run, which is rise over run, down 1 to the right 1. So from my starting point, I'm going to go down 1 to the right 1, right there. Down 1 to the right 1, again, until we've got our line. So then we can go ahead and connect this line. But be careful here because we're dealing with inequalities, and this is where we might have dotted lines, we might have solid lines. So look at the sign. This is going to be a dotted or dashed line because we don't see, there's no equals at the bottom of the sign, which means it's a dashed line. We've done this before. So I'm going to connect this line now, but I'm going to leave it dashed like this. That means points on this line are not included in my solution. Alright, now we need to see the way that we need to see what it's saying. This says y is greater than. Greater than is above the line. So just think about above and below the line. Above the line would be on this side of the line. That's technically the above side. So go ahead and shade that. And I like to shade in one direction because you'll see why later. Alright, so there we go. We've done our first equation. Let's do the second one now. Now I'm going to use a different color. We've got negative 2x plus y is less than or equal to 2. So once again, let's get the y by itself. So we're going to add 2x to both sides. That's going to leave me with y is less than or equal to 2x plus 2. And now we need to graph this. So the y-intercept here is at positive 2. So we're going to start right here at positive 2 on the y-axis. And the slope here is the 2 right there, which is 2 over 1. So we're going to rise 2, go over 1 right here. Rise 2, go to the right 1. Rise 2, go to the right 1. Rise 2, go to the right 1. And now let's see what kind of line we're going to use. We can see that this time we do have the equals at the bottom. It's less than or equal to, which means this is going to be a solid line. Make yourself a note what kind of line you're using depending on the equal to sign or not, so that way you don't get confused. So this one is solid line, boom, there we go. And then let's see which side we have to shade on. This one says y is less than, which means below the line. So look and kind of determine which one's above and which one is below. Below I can see is going to be this side of the line. This is below the line. Okay, so now I'm going to shade it in this opposite direction like this. And there we have it. So what is the point of doing this now? This tells us that our answer is in the overlap area. So let me highlight it for you. Our solutions that work for the system are this overlapping area right here where the two shading sections have overlapped. That's where my solution is. And that's what the system is saying. System of inequalities. Now, be careful though, because points on a dotted line do not count as solutions. So for example, if I had a point right here on this dotted line, that would not be a solution. So let's see what I even mean by that. You can see down here, one question says, is 5, 3 a solution? And all we have to do is find 5, 3 on our graph. So look, we'll go over 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 3, 1, 2, 3. And we can see 5, 3 is right here. See that red dot right there? Does that lie in the overlapped shaded area? Yes, it does. So that means it is a solution. But what about negative 2, 7? Negative 2, 7 is negative 1, negative 2, and 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right here on the dotted line. And it's not even in the overlap shaded area. So is negative 2, 7 a solution? No, it's not. There we go. And that's how we do these problems. On to example 2. So all of these problems are pretty much the same, but we'll just go through a couple more examples just to get some more practice and you can see how it's done. But we've got y is greater than or equal to 4x minus 4. This one's already in, these are both in y equals mx plus b form. How helpful. So we can see the y-intercept for this first is at negative 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Negative 4 on the y-axis. The slope right there is 4, which is also 4 over 1. So we're going to go up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1, up 4 over 1, up 4 over 1. What kind of line are we using here? We see the equal sign, so we're going to use a solid line. Boom. And now we need to see, are we going to shade above or below the line? So we can see that it's y is greater than, which means we're shading above the line. Alright, now let's do y is less than 1/2 x plus 1. The y-intercept is at positive 1, so that's right here. And the slope is 1 over 2, which means I'm going up 1 over 2, right here, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, and then we can see there's no equal sign on our inequality sign right there, which means we're using a dashed line. So we're going to do one of these. Let's see which side we're shading on. It is less than, which means below that line. So below the red line is over, let me change the direction, over this way. And so we can see that the answer, our solution set, lies right here in this overlapping shaded area. And there it is. Now remember, just like I said last time, if it's a solid line, points on the solid line count as a solution. So if I had a point right here, this purple dot right there, that would be a solution. It's on the solid line. But if I had a point on this dotted line over here, right there, let me use light green, you can see it a little better maybe. Right here, that would not be a solution because it's on the dotted line. Dotted lines do not count as part of a solution. Alright, let's do example 3. The first one up here, we've got x minus 2y is greater than 4. We need to get y by itself. So let's just go ahead and add y to the other side because I like to keep it positive and because there's weird rules when you're dividing or multiplying by negatives, so we're just going to keep it positive. So x is greater than 2y plus 4. Then we're going to subtract 4 from both sides. And we're going to have x minus 4 is greater than 2y. And finally, let's divide y by 2. So everything needs to be divided by 2, and that leaves me with x over 2 is 1 over 2x minus 4 over 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. Greater than y. And so normally we like to see the y on the left side, so we can just completely turn this equation around. So instead of writing it like this, we can write y is, and look, we can see that's right here. Our sign is pointing towards the y, so we need to bring that around if we switch the sides. And then it's going to be 1/2 x minus 2. So that's one of my equations. Let's graph this. The y-intercept is at negative 2. That tells us right there. So on the y-axis, negative 2 is right here, and the slope is 1 over 2. So we're going to go up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2. And we do not see an equal sign on the inequality, so this is going to be a dashed line. And looking at this equation right here, it says y is less than. And so the reason why I put the y on the left side is because it's easier to read it like that, because we know y is less than is on the bottom, y is greater than is on the shading on the top. So we're going to shade under this line because it's less than. And looking at our second equation, we've got 3y is greater than or equal to 6x. So we're going to divide both sides by 3. And that's going to leave me with y is greater than or equal to 2x. 6 divided by 3 is 2. So y is greater than or equal to 2x. Do I see a number for the y-intercept? No, I don't, which means that our y-intercept is actually at 0. So we're going to start right at 0, right here. And then we're just going to use the slope, which is the 2. So 2, which is 2 over 1. So rise 2 over to the right 1. So up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, like this. And so we can see also that we have an equal sign in our inequality, which means it's going to be a solid line, like so. And then we can see that its y is greater than, so we're shading above this line, which is going to be this side. Oh, let me change the direction. Whoops. Shading above the line, which is going to be right here, like this. And so our solution set is the overlapped shaded area, which is down here in this or in this corner over here. Alright, now for the last one. Oh, wow, wait a second. This one's got 3 equations, but guys, it doesn't matter. You can still do the problem just like normal. So first, let's graph this one. X is greater than 2. So x is greater than 2. Remember, that's the thing about x equals 2. So on the x-axis, it goes through 2. So right here, and we're just going to go, it's going to be a straight up and down line. Do I see an equal sign on the inequality? No, I do not, so it's going to be a dashed line. So it's going to look like this. Now it says x is greater than 2. So would greater than 2 be on the right side of this line or on the left side of this line? It would be on the right side of this line, because anything on the left side, the x would be smaller than 2. Think about a number line, pretty much. So there we go. We've got one shaded. On to the next one. We're going to use y is less than or equal to 4. This is a horizontal line going through the point 4 on the y-axis. So we can also see the equal sign of the inequalities. So it's going to be a solid line. And it's less than, so it's below this line. So we're going to shade below. Alright, and then lastly, I'm going to use this light orange color. And it's going to be y is greater than x minus 4. The y-intercept here is at negative 4, so 1, 2, 3, 4. It's a little hard to see, but there's my starting point at negative 4. And x, there's nothing in front of that, which means my slope is 1, which is 1 over 1. Rise 1 over 1, so like this. Boom. Alright, and then we can see it's going to be a dotted line or dashed line because there's no equal sign. Actually, that's pretty hard to see. I'm going to use the green instead. There we go. Okay, and then it says greater than, so we're shading above that green dashed line. So we're going to shade like this, above. And so you can see this one's pretty messy. This one's pretty messy. It's a little hard to see. The whole graph is shaded, but the answer, the solutions, are going to be the place where all 3 shaded colors overlap. And if you look really hard, you can see that that's actually going to be right here. It's going to be this triangular area right here. That's my solution set. That's where all 3 shading colors overlap, right there. So this one's pretty hard to see, but this is the end of the notes, guys. Systems of inequalities. So see you in the next one. Peace!